Alright, welcome back to Nugget Garage. It's next week. Going to get into this K10 with the bike engine. Had a pretty good response to that last video. That was a lot of fun that day and definitely going to do it again. The 86 has just been sitting there chilling. Everything seems fine. No metal in any of the filters, which for a whole day over 8,000 revs nearly sounds pretty decent to me. I've got some smart ass mates who think that it's awesome to get me custom signs made. Thanks, Steve. Steve actually has a 1000 horsepower Territory. I'll put a link to his YouTube channel in the description. So get onto his channel and give him shit. But that is pretty appropriate. What have I got this week? Skylines, Honda Minis. We did mate Kip's Starlet and mate Mick's Datsun 1200 wagon on the weekend. One's a 3 hours out on alcohol and the other one is a SR20 VE. They both made good power. Mick's ran out of intercooler at about 880 rear wheel through a glide, which is pretty cool for a 2 litre engine. No nitrous. This thing's come in just to make it run. It's got a link. I think it's got a link Fury on it. Got a Falcon in for dump pipe and plumback screamer and intercooler pipe to catch cans. Bruce's RX2 actually runs. It has quite a lot of oil coming out of the engine, but apparently I've just got to run it for longer. Anyway, just been waiting for this for a week. I'm going to start trying to make this bike look less desirable to keep by pulling it apart. Alright, I'll get into it. Alright, what a pain in the dick. I think every little scriven on this thing was stuck. Okay, so it's the day after the next day. Kind of lost a bit of time again trying to sort this K10 out. Got the oil pump sent away. It's coming back today apparently. I had to organise my trailer, I had to get a medical, I had to get a licence. But I think I'm actually going to make it to the track on Saturday, which should be cool. I'll get some video of that. My same mate Shifty, who brought the bike home for me, came in and did this to it. Far less complicated looking when it's stripped down. I should only have to really pull 3 bolts out now and the engine should be out. I didn't like the idea of this. I appreciate his help, but unfortunately now I've not seen where stuff went and how it came apart, which is going to add a little bit more time when I go to do the opposite of that and put it back together. I've been doing a bit of research, well, not really, this morning in the library or the throne room. I had a look at what you can do with this ECU. Apparently that generation one, you know, it is flashable. There is software available to manipulate the factory tune, and as far as putting boost on top, there is a map switch apparently that's built into pin 21 or 29 or something, that if you ground that, it actually changes fuel maps. So I'm assuming even in the coarsest way I could probably just use a hob switch and ground it, switch to a second map on boost. And then the ignition timing, there is a multiple position gear switch that the ECU uses to pull timing to control wheelies and lower gears and top speeds, and so I'm assuming that you can probably manipulate that input as well, and I should be able to pull some timing out for boost. The dash, I'm going to try and use the whole bike loom. Obviously it's not in an orientation that's going to suit a car, so I'm going to have to cut and shut and move everything, but I'm going to use the factory dash. I have no clue what's going to happen with the gearing. I guess I could probably figure that out. Similar cars in the shop still. Got a little Datsun here. It's a pretty cool little car. We had to just move some stuff around on intercooler pipes and exhaust to put a power tune dash in it. I've got to tune it today or tomorrow. It's a CA18. Did Lockie's SR20 180 yesterday. That was a pretty cool little car. Very nicely done. And today I've got a TR60 62J 180 again, I think. Anyway, I'll set up a camera and try and not drop this engine on the floor. Go. Well, there you go. 1 or 2 or 5 motorcycle mechanics probably just spat out their cornflakes with how I removed that from that chassis, but that's how a car guy that knows nothing about bikes does it. I didn't break anything. I couldn't get those stupid lock nut things apart, so I used other industry standard techniques to remove it. Alright, I'm going to sit it in front of the car and get some measurements and figure out whether I need to make a sump or get a flat bottom sump or something for it. Alright, give us a sec. Alright, so I think what we're going to try and achieve is the output sprocket drive needs to be as close to the middle of the tunnel as we can get it. It's not going to be in the center, I can see that just by looking at it. But if we can get like a 3 degree or something tail shaft angle, we're going to have the reversing gearbox flange midway down the tunnel. So that'll let us correct it before it gets to the diff with a short shaft. The cylinder head I think is going to pretty much sit right up against here. I got given a radiator today out of a drag car. I think Ben Palmer gave it to me, which is PWR core. It's about 20mm thick. It doesn't have any ends on or anything, but I can put them on there. So I think I'll use that as the radiator. I don't really want to use the curved bike one. It's damaged anyway. This bike, as far as being in good condition, It's obviously been dropped. That was pretty obvious when I pulled it apart. There was lots of wreckers marked parts replacing other bits, so that's no biggie. The motor seems good, gearbox seems good, ECU works, wiring, that's all I need. I'm just going to do some measurements, and so it looks like it's roughly from the actual output shaft to the extremity of the engine. It's probably about 400. Shit, sorry. Nearly lost it. Other side of thought also, I made my other Hayabusa just watch me disembowel one of his mates. Sorry, buddy. Anyway, so the cylinder head probably sit up about here, 400-ish. With space, you can see we're not going to end up in the centre of the tunnel, but slightly offset. I have no idea what's going to have to come out of down here. A couple of blokes I know that have done a Hayabusa in an S600. They came in yesterday and with a flat sump that you can buy. Inside of here there's a transverse leaf. I can convert to a coilover and ditch the leaf if I need to, which that'll let me, cut into here like I did with the 12A Corolla, but probably not as extreme. I'm going to cut all this crap off. And then I'm thinking I can just make a frame pretty much outside of the car to get the engine level, and as compact as it can be. And then I'll try and figure out, how to mount it back to this flat area. Well, it will be roughly flat. I may even have to make a sump, with a front bulge. The other thing in the motorbike, that sump was designed for baffling the engine travelling in a different direction. So it's probably wise to change that anyway. Alright, I've run out of time for this morning. Tomorrow I'll try and get this in the hole so we can have a look. Okay, so I've plonked this engine in the hole. I didn't cut anything out. I haven't taken anything off it. I just stuck it in there to push it in and out of the shop yesterday. There you go. Obviously that's not where it's going to sit. We have a few clearancing issues in here with air pumps and engine mounts, and the oil filter looks like it'll actually probably stay there. Okay, I'll get a light. The sump, well, it looks like the actual keel bit will actually sit in front of the crossmember, so maybe I'll get away with using that sump. Obviously the cylinder head's going to be pretty much up against here, which means the actual output on the gearbox, well, it'll be somewhat in the middle, probably a little bit to the driver's side, but not too much. I can't see any issue why that's going to be a bastard to fit. So the plan is, I've been thinking about how to lay everything out in the engine bay. We're going to have this cylinder head right over here, so there's going to be very little room to put a turbo easily, and there's going to be a whole lot of room over here doing nothing. So I guess you can guess what's going to happen. I'll make a long tube manifold, and I'll get a V-band entry turbo, and it'll sit up here somewhere, and I may incorporate an intercooler into the airbox so the turbo can just go straight into it, and then a heat exchanger at the front, and an oil cooler and a radiator. I might use I know it's probably a little bit big, but I don't want this thing to make a whole lot of boost too early, and I want to leave it, for upgrades later if I decide to put rods and pistons in it. So I might get like a G30 660 or something like that. They put G35s on these things, so the 30 660 with a small rear, it'll look okay in there as well. Got some paint coming too. I'm not going to leave it ready. I'm going to sand back the engine bay and make it look good. The engine looks good, so may even get 45 silicons for the throttles and lay them over a bit as well. But the motor's going to sit down lower than that, obviously, once all that crap's gone. Anyway, I'm going to leave that thing here for this week. Reason being, I'm supposed to race this thing on Saturday. I spent 3 hours yesterday trying to put this dry sump pump back on. It's on, but now somehow the belt's too short and I can't adjust it. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't even know how that's moved. I can't get my head around it. So hopefully I can find a belt today. It's Thursday. I'm going to be on a trailer on Friday. Hopefully, otherwise I'm going to take that pump back off again, which is an absolute pain, and try and figure out why it won't rock enough now that it's been rebuilt. I don't know, maybe they've used the same plates and the same brackets and everything, so I don't know why that is. But I've got to get some tunes done today, and I've got to get this running today. I've got to get my trailer registered today, so that'll have to wait till next week, and you'll see it the week after, because with a bit of luck I'll film this thing at the drags on Saturday. Anyway, sorry about the slightly less action-packed episode. I'll see you next week. Don't forget to like and subscribe.